Joe is certainly the most evil character I've ever played. He would maybe kill her and make it look like she killed herself. He's done that before. Why is Joe Goldberg likable? Joe is weirdly honest and authentic too. Joe just being like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm listening. You is such a well-written show because like Joe Goldberg is a serial killer. I'm in love with him. I don't believe that's love. I don't believe that love equals this. So I think we have to question what is love, and if we think this is love, where are we mistaken?
Maybe we need to sit down and decode what is it that people are actually falling in love with this whole character, and why are people just going gaga over it. So I mean, I have to say, I have seen people around me go gaga over Joe Goldberg, right? And the whole series You. And I know it's one of the person was you. Not just, guilty. I mean, seriously, like I've had so many people suggest me to, go watch it. I think after Game of Thrones, I think this is another series that people have been most recommended. Yeah. Like, people actually saying, no, you should watch it. So, okay, I went, watched. I would rather say tried watching. I just couldn't continue. I think for the first season, like 4 episodes, and I just couldn't watch because I was like, oh my god, he's so creepy.
How can you find him creepy? He's so good.
That's why I was like, you know what? Maybe we need to sit down and decode what is it that people are actually falling in love with this whole character, and why are people just going gaga over it? And what's with this whole obsession that people have, and like forcing
what is this mania all about Joe Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
I have to confess, I'm one of them. I'm a die-hard fan of, I think I'm a die-hard fan of Penn Badgley, the way he's portrayed that character, but also the character of Joe Goldberg. But, when I say that, I'm also pretty much aware that where it comes from, and it's literally deeply psychological if you look at it. And I would want to start with the people who've been glorifying Joe Goldberg or why they love Joe Goldberg. I think a lot of us, when we guys were growing up, it can be different situations. Someone might have had volatile parents, someone might have had maybe trauma of abandonment. But when you are growing in not a very emotionally secure and safe environment, right? You start feeling unloved. You start to feel that you are not enough, even for the most important people in your life, like for them to stay. Right. And when that happens, you grow up feeling emotionally neglected, feeling unseen, unloved, or maybe start to assume that relationships are transactional. So if you are someone who has had that kind of upbringing, and if you have had those emotions, Joe's obsession it comes like a balm, like a cooling balm on our all old emotional wounds. It's like a character, when people like that see that character, it feels like, one guy who's willing to risk it all, who's willing to put everything on stake, even do something bad, what the society calls, and not even regret it. That feels like, okay, I'm just not loved. I am the center of the whole universe for this person. And that's that need of being desperately loved. That's what Joe's character touches upon. And that's where, this character has such a huge fan following. Like, it's almost like a cult.
That's what I mean. Like, literally just me watching, right? Like, he starts off with stalking. Then he's a manipulator. And then he's also ends up murdering people, right? And then I was like, what's wrong with people? I mean, what's with this whole obsession? I mean, it's like sort of in a way justifying, through his story, right? You slowly come to know about him is what I heard about from a lot of people, right? They were justifying basis of, he had, childhood traumas. Yeah. What's wrong here? What is it?
I get your question. I think we romanticize his protector energy, right? Because according to him, he only kills people for love, for the women. He's doing it out of love, right? So this is his protector energy activated. And in that, I think why people are justifying his act of doing that, but because I feel a lot of us who didn't feel physically or emotionally safe in their environments, and they felt that they had to protect their own selves. When you look at a character like Joe Goldberg, who's like, I'll do the protecting. You just be. You just love me and I'll protect you. It just touches some chord with our inner child who felt unloved and unprotected. And that's what makes so many people stand for a character like Joe Goldberg.
I mean, seriously, right? Like here also in this conversation, it's just like, he just kills bad people and, sort of, he's not evil. He's broken. So these are kind of words that, people tend to use when it comes to Joe, right? So is it that, what do I say? I know that even, girls around me, I know, like, for the fact that, they also tend to fall for the bad guys, right? Not landing especially with a good person and not being able to sustain good relationships. So do you think it's more of that, if I have to see a reflection of that in the, the real world?
In a way, and I also have a reason for that. See, Joe's love it's not healthy, right? It's all consuming, it's passionate, it's literally unhealthy, twisted and psychotic in a lot of ways. Again, going back to how we relate to him is when we have lived our foundation years in an environment which felt dramatic, which felt chaotic, right? We start to associate love with drama. So even if your love life is safe, it's stable, but it's boring for you. Almost to the extent that your mind thinks it's unsafe because it's not familiar. Whereas a character like Joe, he brings in chaos, but that's familiar. Right? That's comfort. That's familiar. And that's why what you said, that's how we stand for a character like that. And that's the parallel we can draw also. I want to heal the broken, right?
So basically you're actually saying that it's our own shadows, right? That's making us relate to sort of that person's unhealed parts. And it's sort of, what do I say? In a way, you feel protective also towards him. Because it's the similarity that we draw from his lived experience to our lived experience. Oh my God.
I think what I was telling you before we start the shoot, that Joe is our intrusive thoughts, which we love seeing that. So like some dark shadows of us love seeing him doing the dirty work because we do not have to get our hands dirty. Right? So, but when it's happening and if you are getting aware, that means it's time that you heal your shadow because that's coming from your shadow. Joe is a walking trauma. If you do not address and heal your trauma, you become like a character like Joe Goldberg, right? Though I do understand at a lot of levels that why we relate to a character like that. I feel there's a little bit of Joe in all of us. Not in a way that we want to kill people, but even if it is, stalking your crush's Instagram, right? Or what you said that I want to heal the broken, right? That if I just love this person enough, I can fix him, I can heal him. This need to heal people. I don't know why can't we? I think this is one of the biggest epidemics I can say.
I mean, that's so real, right? I mean, like the parallels that we draw with his story and our story. So now another thing, so I feel, from what I could read about it is like season 5, it's like mostly the mirror turning towards us and sort of in a way it starts of projecting, it's also there in us, right?
The evil in us.
Yeah, I mean, so I wanted to just talk about Joe's wounds, right? What is it like from the beginning? Because I know there's parents' trauma, there's so much working. So can we just break down into the woundings that he's sort of
where we feel we are in solidarity with
Joe,
right?
If we can break that down for people.
See, Joe's character, it was shown that his mother left him, right? So of course he's gonna have abandonment issues, and I'm sure that he would have grown up feeling unloved. He would have grown up feeling that he's not enough, and quite to the extent that I might have to fight hard to make someone love me. And how many of us are like that? Like, raise your hands, right?
Yeah.
When in his childhood, he had to kill his father. That was not out of any psychotic rage, but out of survival that he had to do this. And when he did that, his father was abusive. And when he did that, his mother chose someone else over him. Right? And he was forcibly sent to a very brutal foster care system. There, I think we all felt that we are one with Joe in his inability to grieve and heal. Again, how many of us are like that? Many, right? He was not given time to grieve and heal. So, yes, it's a very complex character, but when you see the human side, I think the human side talks to your wounded shadows and your hurt inner child. And that's where we feel absolutely one with Joe, not in terms of going and killing people, but in terms of that, oh my God, this is how a criminal becomes a criminal. We resonated with the fact that no one is coming to save you. You are on your own and you have to protect your own self. That in many ways is a trauma response, like all of us. In fact, most of us, even if I just take women, why are we hyper-masculine? Because we felt that, okay, I need to protect myself. He did it in that way. I'm not justifying. I'm just giving the context of it. I'm just saying that this is where we felt one with him, that he had his own ways to react. And this is how he chose it. Like, he chose violence.
So, I mean, there's something that I resonated with, something that you said before was, so he becomes into a person that he couldn't receive.
Yeah.
He wanted this perfect, he wanted this beautiful, with this obsession with true love, right? Yeah. So you constantly see him going for the next new person, making someone the perfect person for him. And then once that's screwed, like, where the girl either realizes or something wrong happens, and then he's the one who ends up destroying by killing it. So what is this parallel? What is this? Do we see that parallel also in our real world? First, let's just talk about Joe, and then do we draw any parallel here?
See, again, going back to his story, that he grew up without having an emotional safety net, without having a consistent caregiver. In that situation, and with the feeling that, I'm not good enough, I'm not loved. Now, of course, in his mind, of course, he suppressed it, but he knew the shadow was that my real self is not love-worthy.
Oh my God.
And how he tweaked it so that I become what the other person wants. Why he's so good at stalking and studying people and memorizing them is because he wants to become the way they want to see him. Right? And if you actually draw the parallels, it's pretty much similar to our people-pleasing trait as well. Yeah. Right? He does this by becoming what they want to see.
I mean, there's just so many parallels, right?
Yeah.
There are times we end up ghosting people, we sabotage our relationships, sort of we also in a way sort of withdraw from certain situations, and we manipulate. Also for reasons to people please, because like, who doesn't like to be loved?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, all your life you've been wanting to be loved, and then it is just how, but I know it's a very, what do I say, self-draining thing. But
it's like, when you see that you're not getting love for who you are, and it's not authentic and it's not genuine, then even in Joe Goldberg's case, he thought love was control. So let me control the ecosystem. Let me control the dynamics. It was not about connection. So he controlled. If there's a possible threat, eliminate. This is control. That if I control all of this, if I keep every parameter in check, the person will love me. That. And because he, according to him, and that's the kind of monologue he's had on the cameras also, that he killed the wrong guys. He killed the bad guys, according to him. Somewhere when we watched that, it felt like a revenge taken for all the wrongs that we have been through. It's weird. It's really weird because when you saw what the child went through and you became one with that child, so when you're seeing him killing the bad people, somewhere it's like your inner child feels like, yes.
So now let's just flip the lens now, right?
Yeah.
So how do we actually start to heal this part of us that's drawn to this dark love, right? Again, we talk about, what do I say? Craving for this intense love, then calm love, or maybe something that's actually beautiful, that's nice, that's loving, that's, actually caring, and not something craving for intensity and chaos. So like, how can we heal ourselves? I mean, like, not fall in love with characters that feel, I don't know, that's actually not love but obsession.
Yes.
Like, how do we heal it? What do we do? Like, what can we do? Do we do inner child healing?
I think to start with, it's very important first to know that I have these wounds and I have these shadows, right? This is you and I talking and grilling ourselves why we like it. That's the reason all of these answers are coming out. But I think it's very important first for you to understand that, do you even feel whatever we said? Do you think it's a shadow? And if you really want to understand it better, maybe you can start asking questions like that. Why do I crave for chaos in my relationships, right? Why does intensity feel safer than stability, right? Or what part of me still wants to being, like, is it to be loved out of being loved? Or is it to be loved out of obsession? I think the first part is literally sitting down, journaling, asking yourself all these questions. And if you've watched you will know that where all you're resonating with Joe, that's your doorway to kind of, open those shut doors of your subconscious and take out that trauma. So do the shadow work. Have dialogue with your inner Joe. Do the inner child healing, because you're not supposed to shame it. You need to create a safe space within yourself where you feel that it's okay to acknowledge and pinpoint these feelings and accept that this is what you're feeling, because until you pinpoint it, you won't be able to heal it. You won't know what you have to heal, right? So yeah, have a dialogue with your inner Joe.
I mean, so seriously, that part, so it's actually not about Joe, right? And it's not just about him, but it's also about us. It's about like what we settle for or what we thought love was, right? So maybe it's time to reclaim those parts that, I don't know, was hurt.
So it's like, let Joe be your mirror, but don't fall in love with the reflection. See and then choose better so that you can heal better.
Oh my God. So true.